Obese redditors who lost the weight. What surprised you the most? I found bones and muscles I didn't know I had. Didn't realize my ankle was a tiny bone instead of this huge fleshy lump. People talked about fat people around me without first giving me the mildly apologetic "I'm going to talk about your type" look, which was quite an eye-opener to hear what people would say when no fat people were around. Friends used to tell me, "You're not that fat. You look 140. I was faking 260 pounds, but I had never been skinny, so I had no reason not to believe them, just assuming normal women must have been 100 to 120 pounds maximum. I can't even pick up how much weight I've lost and carry it around. I have no idea how I used to walk, but then I noticed I no longer sweat like a pig. I'd have to get to class 5 to 15 minutes early so I could wipe myself down in the bathroom with wet towels and hope that the shoulder and back stains from my backpack would dry up before anyone noticed. I no longer worry about hugging people. Still not a hugger per se, but it doesn't make me feel like Godzilla or some kind of sweaty hell pig. I was surprised by how much new body access I had. Made sense that skinny women didn't have problems reaching anything to shave it. I just thought it was something everyone went to a salon for, because who could ever reach it? You asked for the one unexpected change. Sorry, I went off on a ramble. I've lost about 60 pounds over the last 7 years. Slow and steady wins the race, and now weigh 165 pounds. I'm a 5 feet 10 inches 25 years old guy. Noticed a bunch of things. 1. There is an observable relationship between my weight and the weight of girls who are interested in me. 2. I can jump, run and walk upstairs without turning into a sweaty mess. I still go around jump on things because I now can. It feels great. 3. I've come to realize how much of my lot in life is tied to my appearance. Clothes do make the man, and I'm burdened by the knowledge that being skinny is objectively better in almost every way. But 4. Being skinny is not a panacea for all of my ills in life. I'm still awkward at times. I'm still an asshole at times. I'm still lazy, and I'm not suddenly charismatic and socially brilliant. Losing weight really is just one thing I need to improve in my life. It's not a total solution. 5. Staying skinny requires a complete and perpetual lifestyle transformation. I don't eat sweets. I don't eat fast food. I don't keep snack foods in my house. I don't drink Coke or other sugary beverages. I don't drink alcohol other than vodka soda. If I slip up I gain weight, and so I have to be constantly vigilant. 6. I'm bony and it now hurts to sleep on my side because my hips dig into the bed, whereas my fat provided another cushioning layer. 7. I was really fat. I've lost 60 pounds and I'm still pudgy. I often ask myself why I allowed myself to get so fat, and then I remember chocolate milk. Delicious, fattening chocolate milk. TLDR, losing weight is a 10/10ths experience. Would do again. Couple of thing, how people treat you. I used to get a lot of abuse shouted at me when I was a little too close to 400 pounds. People used to throw shit at me in the streets and generally harass me. I lost 160 pounds, so I'm still fat, still working on it, but people are nicer. I get smiled at a lot more. No one has shouted abuse at me from the car in a long time. Clothes. Being able to go into normal high street shops and buy clothes is just bizarre and a little bad. I charity shop a lot, and when I was very large, I would buy anything that fit me. Didn't matter what it was or if it suited me, I bought it. Well, now I'm a more normal size, so a lot more fits me, and getting out of the habit of buying something just because it fits is hard. I have to clear out my wardrobe to get rid of stuff that I will never wear, doesn't suit me etc. because I'm still in the nothing fits me mindset. How much more aware I'm of food. I mean, before I would just eat and meh, whatever. Now I eat and pay attention to it, enjoy the taste, learning to know what I actually like. I still do not know me in the mirror. I have been fat a very long time, and that body dysmorphia never goes away. I have an eating disorder. You don't get that large without one, and my brain is still trying to convince me I am that nearly 400 pound person that I used to be, rather than someone approaching a healthy weight. A few things surprised me. how much harder it is to keep the weight off than it was to get it off once I finally found what worked best for me. But the thing which surprised me the most was how life freaking changed for me. I was no longer invisible to the clerks at the perfume or makeup counter. How men seemed to fall over backwards to open doors, to help the fairer sex, laugh at my jokes, and pay attention to me during a conversation. How fast I get help in a hardware store. Even how more intently my doctors seem to listen to any health concerns I bring up. So many things became different. Easier. It's a mind f to realize just how differently we treat people based solely on how they look. I've always made it a point to be ultra nice to everyone I come in contact with. As a fat chick, I felt it was in my best interest, plus, it takes zero effort to nice. Being ultra nice to people who don't deserve it really messes with a person who is being a first class a-hole. Sometimes it's something as simple as using passive aggressive southern charm. Well, thank you. I hope the rest of your day will be as pleasant as you are. I make a special effort to be kindest to people who are struggling with weight problems. I remember what it was like to be treated like a child of a lesser god. I will never forget how comments I would overhear others make about my weight would cut me to the quick, and what a difference it made to me when someone was kind. I want to be that person who makes that difference with a quick word or two. I have an incredibly difficult time accepting compliments. Even though I've maintained my weight for years, I still struggle with body dysmorphia. Catching my reflection still makes me pleasantly surprised. I still feel like a lumbering Amazon when I walk into a room alongside my diminutive female friends. I'm always going to feel like that friend who still can't find something to fit when we go shopping. I probably will always feel out of place because I am taller than most women. Losing the weight changed my world, but just not in the ways I imagined. I've gained and lost over 100 lbs. How difficult losing the weight was. I know lots of folks just count calories and don't have to think about it much beyond that. This wasn't true for me. I was hungry all the time. I still haven't been able to lose weight without being super hungry all the time. I'm eating enough calories and loads of fiber, but I don't ever feel not hungry. It might be the long-term result of overeating, but it doesn't go away no matter how long I eat my calorie restricted level. Because of the hunger, I started thinking about food way more than I ever had. The hunger is a constant reminder going, hey, food. How it would impact my job. My job at the time meant that I stood out if I didn't eat with the group. No matter that the sandwiches were literally more than my daily calorie allowance, and I was called out several times for being weird by bosses by ordering things like a salad or a small meal instead of a full meal. I worked in a field where appearances are important, and so is fitting in. Also, being hungry a lot of the time made it difficult to concentrate and get work done. The social pressure. I had guy friends insist that I was torturing myself by living on 1,200 calories a day, or that I was lying about needing so few. I started missing out on opportunities to spend time with friends because they always centered around food and drink, and either the choices available were terrible for me, or they always seemed put off by my restrictions. They weren't bad people, just not used to it, and didn't realize how hurtful what they said was. If I heard, oh my god, it's fine to have one more drink, one slice of pizza, etc. one time, I heard it 1,000. How it would make things emotionally harder. Right now, I work a job that's really difficult. It uses up a lot of brain power. I want to feel good, and I'm denying myself the main tool that made me feel good. I've been desperately searching for anything that could give me even a portion of how good food made me feel and haven't managed. How it's basically impossible now that I'm disabled. Working uses up approximately 105% of my available spoons most of the time. Making healthy food is way harder than eating junk. Either I need to be prepared to spend the time and energy to prepare it, which I literally don't have most days, or I need to spend the money, which I don't have, to eat healthy. People keep helping by suggesting I meal prep on the weekends, but those other times I use to recover from the week, and I'm already doing as much work as I can. Looks get you a more positive reception from the public. You have more energy. You have more confidence. Lower blood pressure. Less stress due to the exercise. That leads to weight loss. I lost weight once. I was in the best shape of my life at that time. I went running every day, had all the energy in the world, performed better at work, everything that I had not experienced for a while. Then one day, some people I know said I looked bad. As in I had lost so much weight that I looked pale and sickly. Looking back and looking at pictures, I was 100% okay as I was eating healthy with lots of exercise, but at the time it didn't matter. That hurt so bad that I didn't exercise for 2 or 3 days. After that I started eating worse and worse, until 6 months later I had gained 55 pounds. Weight is like financial debt. It's so easy to rack up the weight or debt, and it's amazingly difficult to get it off. Fast forward a few more years, and I was up 80 pounds from my low. Not really a lot of support from loved ones, as it was like it was a pain in the ass for me to devote my time to trying to shed the weight by exercising. Nothing really changed. Then, one day, I said, to hell with it, I need to lose weight. So I started exercising like a mother, treadmilling, can't really run at the moment, knees can't handle fat loads very well, and watching what I eat. I'm down around 18 pounds in about a month and a half, but I'm slowly getting there, and building a lot of leg muscle in the meantime, which hurts the weight loss itself, but not the look of my body. Sorry for the backstory, but it brought back bad memories of days past. People treat you differently. I find a lot fewer people seem to just assume I'm stupid now. For example, I just don't ache and pain for like no reason as much. I feel better. I find I feel the need to eat far less, like 50% less. I like the looks women give me. I'm not even very good looking, but I know completely what it's like when every woman's eyes are glazed in your direction, and how it feels when they only light up looking at your friends. I have more energy for everything. Girls I have sex with increase the greater athleticism. I don't have to worry about needing to buy new they shrunk again pants. Lose the weight. If you're fat, make yourself start. You're going to be miserable for much of it, but be honest, you aren't happy now. You miss feeling respected. You want people's eyes to sparkle a bit when they see your figure. You hate seeing new marks on your body. You hate seeing yourself in the mirror. Cut your calories. Fast a few times a week. Stop the buffet trips and the fast food and junk splurges. It's doable. I promise you'll love the end results. I went from 292 pounds to 110 pounds. I lost all of my male friends who had girlfriends or wives, because having a fat female friend was fine, but an attractive one wasn't. I lost all of my male friends who didn't have girlfriends because, even though I'm happily married, they assumed I would want to sleep with them, because they wanted to sleep with me. I was no longer the fat friend and that made a lot of my female friends unhappy. So I lost a lot of those too. I realized that just because I got thin doesn't mean I'm not carrying the exact same insecurities. I still think I'm fat. I often forget I'm not. I'm shocked when people hit on me. I'm startled by my appearance in the mirror sometimes. You need to work on the inside as much as the outside. However, I gained a lot of things. I can shop in regular stores now, and consignment stores I can see a doctor and am heard. Before, no matter what was wrong with me, it was attributed to my weight. Migraines, lose weight. Cancer, lose weight. Now it doesn't matter what I'm in there for, my size, diet, etc. is never discussed. I'm not winded by everything. I don't mentally measure spaces and chairs to determine if I'll fit or break something. I still mentally find myself doing it from time to time, but I'm a small woman and fit pretty much everywhere. I'm no longer sweating and hot constantly. However, I'm now freezing. The process, when you build a habit and you keep a habit, you realize how easy it actually is. Meal prepping is a lifesaver. I have done it every Sunday for 2 years. You're less likely to cheat, to splurge, to overindulge if you have food already made. Make your food, make it consistently, don't miss a week, and you won't fail. Baby steps, my friends, to make lasting habits. Start meal prepping. Make it a habit. Once you have it down, then cut out soda and replace it with water. After a few weeks, make another small change. Maybe cut down on going out. Maybe add going for a walk at lunch. After a few weeks, add another change. These become habits. These habits add up to a healthier, better lifestyle. How much loose skin faking sucks. Used to weigh near 185 kilos. Got to 94 kilograms in a year from going berserk with diet/exercise. Started to lift weights heavier rather than hypertrophy and cardio. Put on a solid lot of muscle. Now weigh around 110, 115 kilograms. I'm a tall guy as well. Broad shouldered. Big chest/traps/shoulders. Dropped body fat percentage. Now have to have surgeries to remove loose skin. Already had one lot to get rid of my sagging man boobs that went from my chest to near my belly button. Along the way for that I got a giant hematoma at my armpit after surgery that swelled to the size of a baseball and meant I couldn't put my right arm down for over a week. Now have to get the chest/man boob surgery revised cause I lost more body fat and put on muscle mass so they sag again a little bit and look square and boxy. I have pretty bad leg/crotch chafing from extreme heat and copious amounts of loose skin around the groin and top of the quad/hamstrings. Belly button and stomach area will need probably 2 surgeries to get rid of the excess skin, a full lower body lift, fleur-de-lis surgery, probably a pubis mound lift too. I looked like a dude wearing a melted candle outfit. I faking hate how I look still, and I'm probably more paranoid about it now than when I did weigh 185 kilograms. I even got my certifications to become a personal trainer, but hate myself and am too embarrassed because a lot of people see the loose skin around my stomach and first thought is that it's still fat, so I don't see a fit healthy guy and think no one would buy me as a PT. And I just came out of a long-term relationship with a girl who had lost a ton of weight and had loose skin and such too. I felt like she was the only one that understood what it was like. So now I'm too afraid to talk to women because I feel as soon as they see me without a shirt on, I get complimented on my shoulder/stature often. They'll laugh, make fun of all the loose skin, and generally be freaked out and not want anything to do with me. Body dysmorphia and trying to be perfect probably fucks with me now more than it ever did being fat. But at least I can lift heavy and run without dying. I'll never go back to being obese, but if you're sick in the head and things, it might not fix all your problems like you hoped. Time to plan today's workout, upper body day and hill sprints. I've seen a couple comments about how people around you seem to be more concerned once you start watching what you than they were when I gained all the weight while eating whatever. Growing up I was always athletic, played all the sports every year. Grew up with soccer, the basketball, then football, then track. I weighed 195, could bench 165. I ran a mile in just under 6 minutes and had about 6% body fat. I was in great shape and always active. I had the worst year of my life and started stress eating anything I came across and stopped nearly all activity. Over a few years I went from 195 pounds to 310 lbs. Not one person in my life said anything. For about the next 7 years or so I fluctuated between 260 and 305 until this year I ended up at 315 pounds. I started lifting weights with a buddy of mine and started making better health choices. But so far I'm down to 290 pounds. I have a diet plan that I'm starting soon. Just need to do a bit more meal planning and research. I can bench 300 pounds, and although I'm not running, I hope to be once I hit 245 pounds. Right now I'm too heavy on my knees, but I still feel good. But now that I'm eating better and slowly losing weight, people are acting concerned, like I'm over dieting or something. Although I carry my weight well, I still have a long way to go, and am excited to finally get back into shape, and am excitedly on my way to a healthier me. TLDR, fat guy here who used to be healthy, and am slowly working my way towards being healthy where friends and family now act concerned for weight loss. That the body insecurities melt away with the fat, and loose skin is a thing. When I started my weight loss journey I had pictures of MMA fighters and other fit looking sports people stuck to my wall as motivation. I not only wanted to look slim, I wanted to be fit and look the part as well, and saw it as a great expectation for yourself and a super worthwhile goal to reach. And it was. But I did not account for the fact that overstretched skin doesn't retract. And the after I got in reality was the body of a smaller person stuck in the skin of a big person. And my insecurities only changed to a whole new set of ones representative of my new look. Most important lesson I've learned is that changing your mindset is just as important as changing your diet. And exercise regimes aren't the only thing you should be adding to your life. Training your head to find self-worth in the new you is just as important as well, because it doesn't always happen automatically. I'm still afraid to show my body, even being near literally half the person I was, and having had the loose skin removed in surgery, which I was extremely lucky to have. Edit. Just want to add, it was still super worth it though. I just fell for a fantasy that's pretty easy to get into when you focus on weight loss, haha. The health benefits alone more than improved my life a great deal, and I love that. The way in which people from young children all the way up to grandmothers treated me better and with a level of respect I was not used to when I was obese. I have been told that it is more to do with my own attitude, but that is a cop-out by people who do not like to accept the fact that there is an inherent dislike of obese people in our society. Now the moment we get to know an obese person, that dislike no longer applies to that person. So you can say I do not think like that, because I have 10th number of fat friends and relatives, and I care and respect them very much. However, this attitude only applies to people that you do not know. When you find yourself annoyed at the obese person making breathing sounds while eating McDonald's etc., or a stranger tries interacting with you on the street, if they are obese you will treat them differently. Also, in the 10 years I was obese, not a single woman, not one single one showed even the hint of sexual interest in me. Simple reason is that both sexes, unless you have a fetish, are repulsed sexually by excess body fat. That is just natural. I know this because one day I woke up and admittedly had a bit of a tan and six pack at this stage, and even though I was late 30s, it was like turning a tap on. Women of all ages were interested in me. Now I'm 45 and the six pack has gone on hibernation since Christmas, and I'm 5 kilograms over my emergency weight. I'm 85 kilograms and 80 kilograms is my emergency weight. Ideal weight is 74 kilograms. I do not know if I will have the same reaction given my age when I get my six pack back, but even if it is only half the original reaction, then I will be very happy. Fattest I got was 5 years ago and hit 140 kilograms. It is a horrible existence being fat, and I feel terrible for those who are trying to do something about it and do not have the self-discipline over the required length of time to get under the obese or fat level. It is not easy, and the playing field is not level. I believe it all boils down to the hunger mechanism kicking in sooner than it should and disappearing later than it should, also being stronger than it should. Why do people eat? Mainly because they are hungry. If my hunger mechanism was 30% less than it is now, then I would not have to put effort into lose weight. It would just happen. A little nervous to post this, but here goes. I'm still fat in my mind. Being skinny hasn't solved all my self-esteem issues. I'm still surprised when people are attracted to my body. I'm still surprised when people refer to me as small or skinny. Sometimes I even still see fat when I look in the mirror, although at my biggest, the size I'm now would be a dream come true. I briefly got far too skinny because I couldn't shake the fat mentality. The mental side of losing weight is an ongoing process. When I used to think it'd be like ticking a box and being done with it. As a straight woman, being friends with straight men is much harder now that I've lost weight. When I was overweight, new male friends were simply new friends who happened to be male. I never worried that there was any motive besides genuine friendship, and I'm still friends with all those guys, almost 10 years later. Now, new men who appear in my life and want to be friends are actually hoping to be more than that, more often than not. Anyway, it's been years since I lost the weight, and this is probably one of the few things I still haven't adjusted to yet. I always get a real shock when the friendship disappears once it's clear I'm not interested in a romantic or sexual way. It just never occurs to me that someone would pretend to be my friend because of the way I look. I wouldn't ever want the weight back. I have more energy. I enjoy clothes more. I genuinely enjoy exercise and living an active lifestyle. I have better self-esteem, though that battle is never done. My skin is better because my diet is better. But I do really miss when men who said they want to be my friend actually wanted that. TLDR, losing weight led to a realization I'd never had before. Friendships where the other party will stick around if I don't sleep with them are important. Maximum loss of 192 pounds, but stabilized at around a 160 pound loss, maintained for 16 years now. Things that took me for surprise: experiencing cold after a lifetime of always being hot, being uncomfortable sitting too long, nose cushion. The variety of clothing options suddenly available, and getting overwhelmed by the sheer amount of options when clothes shopping. My resentment of meeting new people who didn't know I'd been morbidly obese. I'd fume inside thinking you'd never be this nice to me if you met me at my heaviest. The shock of being seriously hit on. Confusion of women treating me as a threat, and having to deal with fake sweetness, catty comments, and talking behind my back. Essentially, the surprise of going from being invisible, or just being the funny fat girl with the "oh, but you have such a pretty face," to being seen. I still order way too much food and only feel comfortable if I have a fully stocked pantry, even if I can never eat it all. I recognize that my brain plays tricks on me. I went from 300 pounds a plus size woman at 5 feet 8 inches to 200 pounds, now usually a size L. 24 pounds to 14 over 12. I would have weird panic attacks in clothing stores. I would have to try on 4 different size pants because I just didn't believe I was a 12. So I started with an 18. I would hold up the 12 and just think they were too small. What a great victory it is to lose weight. But now I was disconnected from myself. How could I not know my own body? I just assumed that the size M shirt was just a really big M. And the size 12 jeans were just a big pair. Sometimes even now, I see myself, and I see no difference. Logically I know that's incorrect, but it can feel that way. Body dysmorphia isn't uncommon with weight loss. You have to remind yourself that you are more than the scale and a dress size. 2. People meeting you after the weight loss. They never knew the old you. That person is completely foreign to them. Showing old pics is absolutely shocking to them. 3. I actually sweat all the damn time. I take stairs. My body thinks it's go time, and I'm gonna go for a hike or something. The sweat just starts in right away, haha. But on a cool note, my resting heart rate is crazy low. I had it checked. I'm healthy. It's not unusual for me to have a resting heart rate below 50. This will get buried, but I was over 300 lbs. I'm currently 159 lbs. Bones sticking out. Feeling my hips certainly freaked me out. Now I can feel my rib cage. My shoulder has visible bones and my wrist. Were skinny people walking around thing whole time with their bones so close to the surface of the skin? That was crazy. My nips got longer, but my areola has shrunk, along with my titties. I didn't overused some muscles, underused others. My thighs are yoked on the outside, inner thigh is weak as hell. Seeing muscle definition is awesome. I've never ever seen my muscles. Now these shoulders are on point. People not wanting you to lose more weight. I want to lose 30 to 40 more pounds and people keep saying I don't need to. I don't know why it bothers them. Getting smiled at it excuse med is amazing. Anytime it happens I'm always surprised. It's weird and almost embarrassing how good it feels for someone to be attracted to me. I secretly want to hug them and say thank you. It took so long to figure out that guys were trying to get my attention and just simply wanted me to look at them or help me. I know it's because they think I'm attractive now, because no one helped me or tried to get my attention before. Customer service has gotten way better and strangers want to talk to me in a way they didn't before. I never thought I would crave exercise. Losing weight has awakened the gym rat within. How much more comfortable in public. The portions I used to eat is scary to me now. It's not by much, but it is so much easier to move. Dropped something? No problem. Just bend down and pick it up. Untied shoelace? Same. Going upstairs? I might not run, but at least I'm not completely out of air when I reach the top. Sitting down and getting back up. Just basically moving around. I didn't realize how much of a difference it made before I lost the weight. The second thing is, clothes look better on me, and I feel better wearing whatever I feel like. Which is good, since I need layers now. I'm cold all the time. Third thing, I don't feel guilty when I go to a fast food place and order something. I don't do it as often anymore, but I can do it and be okay with it now. since I know I'm eating well the rest of the time. 4th, my taste buds are different. I taste little variations in flavor better, and I enjoy my food more. Brussels sprouts are delicious. 1 teeny cube of 70% cocoa chocolate, and I've had enough, since the flavor is so rich. How much psychology factored into my weight? Regardless of the size I've always been fairly athletic and active. For some context, I went from 380 to 245, and 245 on me looks downright lean, because at that size I have that sort of hayseed MLB pitcher build. If you'd ever read a sports program and seen a guy listed at 240 and wondered where the weight could possibly be on his skinny ass, that's me when I'm at my lightest. I put some of the weight back on simply because it felt really weird to me. Also, I had lost some muscle mass in the process, so I might have gone a little fat mac from my asip during that process of getting muscle back. I realize in retrospect that I put the weight on in my teens as sort of a defense mechanism. I can remember getting a lot of attention from girls around the time I was 12, and I had a really hard time dealing with it, because that just wasn't where I was emotionally or mentally at that time. This was years ago, but there was an incident involving a girl a grade ahead of me that in modern cultural norms would be considered a sexual assault committed by her. All I really knew at the time was that I felt mad about it. By age 14, I was in the mid 200s in weight despite being only 5 feet 4 inches at the time. I also did a lot of other things to make myself look worse, such as wearing my facial hair like sheet, not hard at 14, bathing infrequently and dressing like complete ass. When I lost weight in my 30s, I started to realize how much of the original weight gain was about shielding myself from sexual attention. I still can only stand sexual attention if it is purely dictated on my terms. Unsolicited attention is a fast path to being treated like complete dirt, even if it's polite attention. It's weird looking back, because there's so much that happened with my weight in my teens that boils down to stuff I couldn't mentally or emotionally process. Not that as a boy in 1990 anyone would given a fuck about it. I went from 300 to 205 the last 7 months, still losing, but I'm freakishly tall, so I've been within a normal BMI for about 10 pounds now, and here's what I've noticed most. Sitting is way less comfortable. It feels like my bones touch everything now. I never got cold before. Now I'm basically always cold related to the coldness. I used to sweat all the time, no matter what I was doing. Now I rarely sweat outside of working out. I can feel how much less space I take up. I can easily squeeze behind chairs and tight spaces I never could have before. I'm treated better by everyone, especially people like cashiers or waiters. I used to feel like a burden on them, and they were always sort of disinterested in whatever they were doing for me, but now they chat with me and smile more often. This one could just be a reflection on the self-confidence I've gained, but I notice people in the street looking at / checking me out reasonably often now, whereas that had never happened before. I used to eat all the time, probably 3,500 plus calories a day, just constantly eating a meal or snacking on something, but now I just eat at meals. Usually just a small lunch and then dinner, and I'm full so much more quickly. I just feel better all the time, mentally and physically. My weight used to constantly occupy my thoughts. Now I'm far more focused on my interests and work. I'm less tired and feel more alert and present. Realizing just how large I was, I never really thought of myself as obese, just kind of chubby, but once I started to lose I realized how out of hand it had gotten. My old pants look hilarious on me now, they don't stay up at all, and I've only kept a few of my old favorite long sleeve shirts to wear around the house / to bed, because they are massive and really comfy and make me feel good. Looking at how far I've come. Went from 245 to 175 to 180 at 5 feet 10. Biggest one is that I can't see where I lost the weight. Looking down, I look exactly the same, but if I look at my profile in the mirror or my face, it's a huge difference. Then there are the obvious: getting cold much easier and alcohol hitting me a lot faster. Most wholesome is definitely how easy it was. Of course I cheated, but I never expected to be able to get as far as I did. Still have 15 to 20 pounds to go, but I also started at a new university and moved halfway across the country towards the end of my journey, so I'll get to the last bit soon. Once you get in the mindset that you are going to be successful, it becomes so incredibly easy. It no longer becomes an unachievable goal, but something that you are going to do. It's part of your everyday and part of your identity. Edit. I don't mean to say that losing weight is a cakewalk, but it's surprising how it just kinda happens. Once you reach a certain point, it's no longer a struggle. I encourage everyone that has been putting it off to stick with it until you reach this point. It'll change your life forever. There are a million different diets, but calories in versus calories out is the end goal for every diet. Start with what is easiest for you. Late to the party, but I just lost 70 pounds and that is what I'm experiencing. The upsides. My health has improved a lot. Healthy blood pressure, less pain, my fitness has improved a lot. I feel much better, stronger, more flexible, shopping for clothes is much easier, the search is better, I've stopped snoring and can sleep on my back again. The downsides. I'm freezing all the time, I actually get ill more often right now, but it's also winter. It's awfully easy to slip from one eating disorder into a different one, and as long as you aren't awfully thin no one will care, especially if you were overweight before, so I would highly recommend to have an eye on that, and seek help if necessary. People treat you differently. I personally don't like that. I haven't changed as a person and I don't enjoy compliments about my appearance as much, because I'd rather still be appreciated for my personality. I used to smile a lot before, but now I have to be more careful with that, because men will now take it as an invitation. You'll get a lot more attention in general, which you might like or not depending on the type of person you are. Even though life doesn't get all better necessarily with losing weight, I would do it again, because my quality of life has definitely improved health wise, and I want to have the chance to grow old with and for my family. Also, I like riding roller coasters and it's nice when it doesn't take two people to close a safety seat. Since I've made this journey 2 times before, slipped back into old habits, and gained everything back, I now know it's essential to figure out the relationship you have with food. For me, it used to be a substitute for other things, and the best thing I could do was seeing a therapist and work on the things that are actually responsible for my weight gain. Oh, and r/low seat is terrific. Edit. Get your blood tested. Hashimoto really is a thing. Edit 2. English is hard. 300 pounds to 180 pounds here. The biggest thing I noticed is how people treat me differently. A lot of people never wanted to be my friend or give me the time of day when I was at my heaviest. This is probably a result of my bad habits that made me fat: alcohol, soda, dirty eating, binge eating, smoking, and just lack of love for me. If I didn't like myself, how would I ever like me? I had a hard time with people after I lost the weight, though. I started getting attention from women who turned the cold shoulder on me before. I started getting the time of day from friends of friends. At first, I was petty about this attention, thinking that people who don't understand what it's like being that size are just mean and petty themselves. I was being a bully to the bullies, if you will. My response to this no longer exists, since I've moved several times since living in that town. Point being, holding the door open for someone who is looking to make those lifestyle changes is the defining reason as to why I lost my weight. I had a friend wake me up about the poor lifestyle choices I was making. And here's the key. This person showed me by example while inviting me along. They were always there for me in that regard. As someone in their late 20s, this is something that goes away with responsibilities and time management. That I could completely stop taking insulin. I used to take 4 injections per day, 1 with each meal, and a basal at night. Now I'm down over 70 pounds, and I haven't taken any insulin since October. People who aren't insulin dependent may not appreciate how freeing this is. When you are injecting, you are constantly walking a fine line between getting your blood sugar levels down to acceptable levels by taking enough insulin and taking them down to hypoglycemic, low blood sugar, levels. The latter can be very scary in the middle of the night, as you wake up disoriented and shaking, and if you don't get some glucose in you quickly, you can go into a coma. and in the worst case, die. I was told that after 10 years of injecting, all my insulin producing cells would be dead, and no matter how much weight I lost, I would always be insulin dependent. So this was completely surprising. I was expecting to be cold and to look better. The insulin thing was amazing. And another thing, my feet used to be in terrible shape. They were very wide with large and painful bunions. Now that I've lost weight, my feet are thinner as well. I guess without as much weight pushing down on them, they don't need to spread out as much. I had to buy new shoes along with my new pants. I lost 50 pounds years ago. Sadly, the past 3 years I gained all but 10 of it back when I got a really stressful job. However, I kept it off for a few years. There were 3 things I noticed. Men will hit on girls in really creepy ways. I'm married. It's one thing to approach a girl at a relatively safe location to start conversation, but it's another thing to approach girls at gas stations or say creepy things to them. I had a guy outside the grocery store say, "Girl, no offense, but you got a nice round booty." Even at my skinniest, I have a big butt and relatively large breasts. I was once about to pump my car with gas, and a man came over and gently took the pump from me and said, "Girl, you're too good to be pumping your own gas." What the fuck? I once had a guy at a food court jump over the counter to offer me a sample of teriyaki beef. I'm vegetarian, so I declined and felt guilty about it for some reason. Exercising. Girl, that's a nice shirt. You should take it off. Again, what the fuck? You can see my point. My balance was so much better. I didn't even realize I had balance issues before. But instead of holding on to rails when walking downstairs, I could easily jump downstairs and be perfectly happy. I'm a child at heart and could climb trees again and hike again without toppling over if I had to balance on a rock or branch. Even putting on shoes while standing up used to offset my balance, where it was no problem after I lost the weight. Lifting heavier things. This isn't directly related to the weight loss, but more the fact that I did lift enough weights to tone up. I went from struggling with a 50 pounds water jug to helping my parents lift their 110 pounds Rottweiler into the bathtub when I'd visit. Lost 60 pounds for my wedding. Everyone is friendlier towards me at work. I have more energy. People on the train don't try to avoid me or stare at me unless they are smiling and checking me out. And I found my confidence around women has skyrocketed. My clothes fit. I never worry about chaffing. I have to pull up my pants. I can fit into any seat. And above all, I can walk, run, climb, hike, etc. miles and miles, and not even break a sweat these days. I blow past people on the sidewalks and get impatient with fat people now. I'm one of them now. Whenever I see a fat person I want to tell them there's a better way. But I have to keep my mouth shut since, you know, that'd just be mean. Edit. Thanks for all the support and comments. To the confidence around women and being married point, I mean in general being able to be friendlier and more professional around them and not feel threatened by them judging me, same way women must feel about men judging them when they are overweight. Or I guess, sadly, any weight. Now that I'm thin and trim I don't even think about my body image anymore around women, so I can be more myself and have made a lot of friends at work who've noticed the change. They laugh and say they never thought I was that heavy to begin with, so my perception of them kept me from opening up to them, and they are glad now that I have, since they say I'm funny and they enjoy talking to me. A lot of people confide in me now and ask for advice on things, since I usually am a good listener and am better talking with women than men. Guys too say I never looked heavy since I was 250 and I'm 190 now, but no one ever believes I was that heavy. Mostly just notice it in my face I guess, although I know my gut is long gone. Just hit it well with broad shoulders and good posture, soaking it in and such. Also as to what I did to change, I basically just cut down my portion sizes and that helped me also get over my depression, boredom, and snacking. Instead of 8 slices of pizza, I ate 3, then 2. Instead of entire large portions of rice, crab rangoons, and General Gao's chicken from Chinese delivery, enough for 5 adults, I order a single serving for 1 adult. Also, instead of a bagel and cream cheese and large vanilla chai from Dunkin' every other morning, I ate smaller and smaller portions of cereal with almond milk at home. As for lunches, I stopped ordering food at work and packed a lunch every day, portioned out nuts and fruit, and had snacks every hour instead of large meals. Also started drink way more water. Now I drink 60 ounces a day at least, whereas before all I drank was coffee and soda. My confidence. I was always fat till I turned 16 and was always this introvert guy that wouldn't say much unless I was around my best friends, in which I was just that funny party guy. I never really felt respected by anyone. I spent my days talking to girls on Facebook, but I was always scared of meeting up with them because, although my pictures weren't really hiding anything, I was always insecure about my looks and thinking that maybe they thought I looked different or something. I lost 20 kgs during the summer, plus a few months, and the difference was insane. I was always confident, happy, way more outgoing, and people started to like and respect me way more. I met up with a lot of those girls I was scared meeting before, and my life just turned upside down since then. I felt like I was reborn into a complete different world. Also, all I did to lose weight was run for 30 minutes almost every day. I would stop a lot though. Running was always my weakness, and drinking water 24/7. Yes, I started to eat less sweets and all of that, but I was still eating like a normal teenager. I would still eat fast food now and then. Chocolate, sodas. I just stopped doing it as often and started to drink way more water, which was something I would rarely drink before. Nowadays I gained a bit of weight, but I blame that on university and my ex-girlfriend. I'm already doing exercise and working on my diet again. Bunch of things. I'm a guy, went from 250 to 165ish. Also am now trapezoid shaped instead of pear shaped. Chest is bigger than belly, but not to the point of being V-shaped. So here they are, in no particular order. How much colder the winter is. My first thin winter was also after I got separated. Got an electric blanket. Parallel to #1, how much your spouse will resent your weight loss. How women became a little more afraid of me. Harmless fat guy to in shape wildcat guy. How much easier it is to get clothes. Clearance rack. My size. 90% off last clearance. Don't mind if I do. How much harder it is to get dates. Everyone assumes that I'm either gay or in a relationship or both. I think more guys have asked me out than I've been on dates. How you have to count every calorie that goes in and out to maintain everything. I can still eat 1700 calories in a meal. I just choose not to. Loose skin. I'll never have a six pack unless I get surgery. How much more energy I have. Dick's bigger. Doctor appointments are pretty laid back. Not well, Mr. Chatbot. NSA, I've got the results from the cardiologist, and we have to make some difficult choices about where to go from here. I've been obese since I was 10 years old. Lost it all at 24. The biggest surprise was that I've always smiled when I accidentally made eye contact with a stranger. Suddenly, one day they started smiling back, and I realized that they hadn't before. Maybe someone would awkwardly half smile, but all of a sudden people were genuinely smiling back. I was also shocked at how quickly everybody was ready to talk to me, like I was an idiot. I'm a software engineer, and my coworker stopped arguing with me and started explaining to me. My mother and my sister have always been slim and beautiful, and they always joke about how dumb they are. It made me realize that people have probably been talking to them like this their whole lives. And if I weren't fat growing up, I probably would have been too, and I would have grown up believing the same thing about myself. All the physical things have been amazing. I've been playing sports competitively for the past 10 years and it's become the core of my social circle. The ability to fit into straight sizes, so you can choose between pants for big thighs and pants for big waists, has made it possible for me to wear pants. But socially, I hated everything about being slim. I shaved my head and started dressing like a man and everything got way better. So far, I've lost 80 pounds using intermittent fasting. The good, massive energy increase, and I feel I'm firing on all cylinders in every way. I'm no longer obsessed with food and now eat to live instead of live to eat. I feel that anything's possible, because this seemed impossible at the start. I'm hopeful and cheerful now. I can also wear anything off the rack. It's strange to automatically pick the 14/16 US, then realize I need an 8 in reality. I'm confident and face people head on, and look them in the eye, where I'd avert my gaze prior. I don't look at obese persons with judgment anymore. I see them as having to deal with trauma or anxiety that's causing a need to feel protected and soothed until such time as they are ready to face their issues and let go of the insulation. I see everyone with compassion and empathy, which is a change from 2 years ago. The weird, both sexes / all ages checking me out and giving me attention is new. Double entendres are uncomfortably part of my daily life, at work, especially. People want to party with me where I would have never been included at my old weight. Loose skin on my arms, thighs, and belly are annoying and cause insecurities when naked, but it's slowly resorbing. Shaving my armpit / bikini line is hard because of the new high relief topography of once flat, filled out plains. Most sedentary activities are uncomfortably bony. For instance, sitting in a chair hurts my spinal column and bruises my tailbone. Running into things with my hips leaves bruises. My knees are always black and blue because there's no cushion. Sex isn't as enjoyable because of reduced surface area for pleasure nerves and not enough padding to protect me from my lover's bones. Clothing and underwear had to be downsized, which is expensive and frustrating. Even shoes are now narrow as medium width constantly flip off my feet. Edit. Grammar. I've lost 32, 35 or 62, 65 pounds or more, depending on when you want to start counting, but the recent few months is 32, 35 lbs. I'm lighter than I've been in 25 plus years, but I'm still on the high side of obese. I think the biggest surprise was how easy it was. I don't mean to say it's actually easy, but there is so much faking opinionated shit out there on eating, exercise, and weight loss, and it's all contradictory, and none of it works if you can't / don't / won't stick with it. I wasn't even trying to lose weight specifically, but I had other compelling reasons to alter my diet. Even for my specific reasons there is an enormous amount of conflicting advice, even from legitimate sources. I finally decided I was unlikely to radically change my diet and stick with it, so I asked myself how I might just alter my normal routine sustainably and came up with some adjustments, which largely came down to portion control, avoiding fries and other starchy additions, and trying to increase intake of stuff I like, but is healthier than my normal, like beans, nuts, or oatmeal. I'm moving around more each day, but not enough to properly call it exercise. So I guess the biggest surprise is that losing weight is simply eating less. All that other noise about how to eat, what to eat, and how to exercise, and how much is just a lot of confusion that long distracted me from what really makes the difference. I was about 360 pounds and went as low as 183, but I'm back up a bit at 120 and working back to a healthier weight. Loose skin. I have it and a lot. It bugs me a lot, but I don't have money for surgery. I accept it, and I have a lot of casual sex. Losing weight also helps that, and honestly if you don't care then the other person won't really care as much. I just can't flaunt a beach body but I'll take what I got. Other people have said it, but I get cold a lot, my hands are clammy, and I'm just cold. The alcohol hits harder now for sure, honestly it sucked having to pay $ and down drinks to get my buzz. Nowadays I get a glass of whiskey and nurse it a bit, while taking shots with my friends every once in a while, and I'm good all night, haha. Most of all, the thing that surprised me the most is that losing my weight did not make me happy. It solved some of my problems and gave me a few new ones. For example, I had binge eating disorder and I thought losing weight would solve it, but here it is still. I still can't take my shirt off around people I'm not intimate with. In other words, I'm still insecure with my body. Don't get me wrong, losing weight has way more pros than cons, but losing weight didn't magically fix all of my other problems, which may sound ridiculous, but that's what I honestly felt would happen. I still have depression, body image issues, an eating disorder, and still have trouble with being an awkward fag sometimes. I've learned that that's part of life, not obesity. I will attach some progress pics of myself while in the prime of my weight loss for anyone who is interested. imgur.com//IVL3W. The last pic is about 197 pounds by the way. The biggest surprise is how GD cold I get now. I used to be hot all the time, now I'm cold even in the summer. Aside from that, I was surprised to find out that I found it really easy to maintain the loss, actually had pretty good muscle definition. Found the area around my ribcage super sensitive, could feel my spine when I sat in a hard chair, had a very different perspective on food, was able to manage my depression much easier and was treated entirely differently by people, and how poorly I had allowed myself to be treated. Specifically, I was treated like shit by the guys I dated. After I lost the weight, the first saw me out one night and the other saw some pictures of me with friends, and they both tried to get back together with me. Now 4 years after the weight loss and after a bad back injury, I'm starting to struggle with my weight again, and I'm sinking back into bad depression over it. Between late 2015 and early 2017, I went from 272 to 161. Woman, 5 feet 4 inches, age 38 now, in about 1.3 years, gave up all added sugars and then lowered carbs. I then regained some, and I'm about 200 right now, but working down again. That I have bones, and I can feel them, especially my jawbone and my hip bones. Clearly I know they were there before. I felt like I joined a secret skinny club where everyone says hi to you and makes eye contact. I was not expecting the level of male attention and was newly single, so that was fun. My boobs got bigger. I'm not big chested and I thought they'd get smaller, but I guess none of it is fat, and so they stayed the same and I got smaller. How much energy I gained. I wanted to run across streets and park far away and climb up hills. I did anything to avoid that at 272. I lost the weight without exercise mostly, and so this was all surprising. I'm working back there, but this time working out. That I wasn't afraid to try new things. I was always embarrassed by my size, and I was afraid of how it would impact activities, and so I avoided them with other people. I'd still do lots on my own, but it was great to stop turning down invitations. The floor is hard. I always used to sit on the floor, and now that hurts. I also had to buy a cushion for airplanes. Clothes shopping is so much fun. How fast I lost weight. I was 28, employed at a job that I sat at a desk for. In less than a year, I lost 40 pounds. It scared me. At one point, I thought something might have been medically off about me. I also got really sick a month into losing weight. I had been not eating refined carbs or sugar. I wasn't exercising a lot, mostly stretching with about 20 to 30 minutes of cardio on a treadmill, speed walking. I let my body rest with sleep and fluids, and took it easy while I healed. It wasn't easy to pick up where I left off, but I did somehow. Then, it was smooth sailing after that. I thought it was an anomaly, but my spouse just went through the same thing. After adjusting his diet, I think we forget how hard we can push ourselves. The other thing that was surprising was how people reacted to my changing body. Most of the time, it was unwanted attention, and I didn't like it. I wanted approval. I didn't want to be noticed. I now weigh more than I did the first time I lost weight. I'm more at peace with myself. I think I needed the time to appreciate myself for who I am. I've been through a lot. I needed to find love for myself, regardless. Now, I'm almost 40 and my body is letting me KO the ways I've overused myself, and it's kind of scary. The feet that I crammed into high-heeled shoes hurt and leave me hobbling and limping for days, sometimes months. I no longer want to lose weight to fit into clothes I want to wear. I want to lose weight so I can enjoy more of what life is left for me. Lost 67 pound peak to trough once in my life. Think stocky high school lineman, and then tall and lean with a decent amount of muscle. Some expected fun stuff. Was running with my friends once, and a group of girls drove up and catcalled us, and my friend said that was for you. Went on dates with some of the most attractive girls during this time. More hookups after meeting attractive girls for the first time. Felt more hungry. The nutrition knowledge back then was still kind of stay within your calories. Fat is calorie dense, hence eat less. Fiber wasn't really talked about. It was 6 meals a day and no one would dare trying intermittent fasting. We knew sugar was bad, but it is not as vilified as it is today. Cloth shopping was way easier. That $2 thrift shop Polo Ralph Lauren orange tank top looks awesome, some unexpected. Got challenged to fights a few times. Well, I don't look like a lineman. I look like tall and lean guy. Took much longer for me to realize I'm now fit. Constantly surprised that attractive girls want to hang out. Looking good is half the battle. Being fun to be around and having a good sense of humor goes a long way. It was very hard to understand that the attractive girls may feel nervous as well. It took a while for the fat guy inside to realize he's no longer a fat guy. Still a sense of inadequacy. Still felt that I was not lean or fit enough. Largely find out later in life that some of the guys were on steroids at the gym. People don't talk about it on YouTube and Reddit back in the early 2000s. Biggest fallacy was believing that if I wind up with a six-pack, it would have been finding the holy grail. In hindsight, I was damn sexy, not understanding hints from women. In hindsight, I was incredibly naive. When you are lean and fit, it was so much easier to stay that way. I remember visiting a friend in New York City and his roommate said he was going for a run. I joined him. I just randomly run 6 miles on the West Side Highway before going to dinner with my friend. I would occasionally run home from work, which would take 15 to 20 minutes driving. Went from 290 pounds to 160 pounds over 2.5 years. I'm a 5 feet 9 inches 32-year-old male. As reflected by the others in this thread, the fact that people treat me so differently from before I lost the weight is so frustrating. I was never a bad person, but I was never taken seriously and had to work 10x harder to get people buy in and respect me. The one thing that got to me on a size level was the fact that I had to replace my shoes and hats after the weight loss. Body clothes was something I was expecting, but I have a nice collection of MLB fitted baseball caps that are too big now and collect dust. I also never expected to have to replace my shoe collection. I lost most of the weight with diet, and I continue to eat very clean and healthy to maintain my weight. Now that I've lost the weight, people around me are much more judgmental of my diet compared to when I started. I used to hear things like "That's awesome, you are eating so healthy." Now it's more like "That's all you eat in a day." The funny thing is, I eat more now to maintain my weight than I did when I was losing. When I decided to build and maintain a healthy lifestyle, I never thought I'd lose friends over it. Since I don't partake in the party lifestyle anymore, rarely eat out, and stay away from alcohol, I don't get any more calls to hang out on Friday or Saturday nights. It definitely makes you appreciate the ones who stick around. Being cold all the time sucks. I really appreciate fuzzy socks and good gloves now. I feel better than I ever thought I would. A lot better. If I could bottle it and sell it, it would probably be illegal. My feet got bony. My feet used to be larger and padded. Now I stand on 3-ish bony points. It was disconcerting. I can't eat as much as I used to, by a lot. All you can eat deals are a waste of money now. I avoid them and don't miss them. I can't stand fast food anymore. I used to love that dreck. Now it makes me a little sick. I'm finding out I love to run. Running was a chore. I hated it now. At the end of my runs I want to keep going. Being able to properly warm up without killing myself has a lot to do with that, I think. I used to think runners who loved it were crazy. Now maybe I am. Everyone looks fatter. It's weird. I see with different eyes, and some folks I used to envy for how thin they were now look, well, fat. Not bad, really. Maybe. This one I can't really explain fully. Frankly, I kinda feel like a jerk about it. I should judge. No, I'm the last person that should. But it's not that I'm judging. I see it. Maybe I'm just a jerk. I sleep so much better. I'm trying to get 8 hours of sleep a night and I kinda can't. I wake up before my alarm and I'm up. I catch my wife looking at me in ways she hasn't for a long while. It breaks my heart a little that I didn't lose weight earlier. That I didn't keep it off when we were younger. I hadn't realized we had lost something. I'm glad that it is back. How cold I get. Man, how cold. I never used gloves, except in extreme weather. Now I want to wear them at my desk at home and work. I want to wear socks all the time too. And a sweater. Where is my blanket? I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. I'm still diabetic, I know that. but my blood tests come back with numbers in the normal, if a little high range. My blood pressure is that of a younger person and my cholesterol is now normal for a much younger person too. My resting heart rate is in the 50s now and trending down. I'd hoped for my health to improve, but I did not expect such a drastic turnaround. It seemed like everyone said, lose some weight, and I never listened. I wish I had. I wish I knew better. Get the weight off, not to look better, or fit someone else's expectations, or for any other reason than because it's amazing. I wasn't obese, per se. Medically I would have been. Weighed around 80 to 90 kilos, size 16 to 18. 5'5", just saying it now feels weird. Anyways, I'm at 55 kilos, size 8 to 10. I hit the gym, ate more micronutrients, and now I've been considered hot by many men. Woohoo. Luckily for me, I didn't get too many issues with the weight gain, and my skin did bounce back pretty well. The stretch marks I have now look like burnt skin behind my knees, which does suck. I never got any on my tummy, so for the most part one love the silver stripes on my love handles and front thighs. I noticed bruising, a lot of bruising, mostly around the knees. I later figured out that I couldn't place my knees on top of each other when I sleep. My knees got honey to the point they started to bruise each other. Weird thing to notice, I have a thigh gap, and placing stuff between my thighs wasn't going to cut it anymore. Nearly lost my phone doing this. I play with my stretchy skin often, and can now pull skin off from my chest. Speaking of which, boobs, they got smaller. I love them small, so it doesn't bother me. I used to be a C16, and now I'm an A10. They didn't get too saggy, but I do feel self-conscious about the less fat I have on them. I'm working on exercises to push the boobs up, and will consider some skin laser down the line to tighten the skin. I'm incredibly late, so this will probably get lost, but the sweating. Other people have touched on this pretty regularly, but for me, male, it's a significant difference. My weight jumped around 260 to 290 most of my young adult life, and peaked just shy of 300. Currently down over 110 pounds from my official starting weight 288 lbs. Obviously I'm still self-conscious about a lot of things, especially the loose skin, but my face and neck have tightened up incredibly well. Before my weight loss, when my friends would find old photos of me on Facebook or Insta from high school, I would usually get the comment, "Bro, you were like a solid 9 when you were skinny." That was one of many of the motivators for me to lose the weight. Anyways, back to the sweating. Holy shit. I never realized how much I actually was sweating. Working sales was a nightmare, because just walking around the show floor I would start to bead sweat on my forehead showing customers products. The biggest thing, however, was my sleep sweating. Was always incredibly self-conscious about this. Would literally wake up in a pool of sweat in the morning and have to do laundry for my sheets almost daily as they smelled of sweat. Tried everything to stay cool, but nothing worked. This affected my romantic life drastically, as I would never spend the night at a girl's house. Fat guys get loving too, or allow one to spend the night at mine. To my overweight friends still on their journey to a healthier life, keep pushing. Eating healthy is important for the nutritional aspect of weight loss, but calorie intake is key. Once I started tracking my calories, MyFitnessPal is a free app, and I attribute about 50% of my success so far to it. It became so much easier. Take photos and measurements of your progress as well. When I was around the 220 pound mark, I kind of hit a wall for a couple of months and stopped losing weight. But through my photos and measurements I realized this was because I was losing fat in my thighs and stomach, but putting more muscle on my arms and calves through lifting. Measurements are key. Just because your weight stopped going down doesn't mean you aren't succeeding. You may just be succeeding a little too well. I went from 300 to 180. My doctor wants me to lose about 35 to 40 more pounds. As you get closer to your goal, it comes off more slowly. Replacing bras and underwear cost a fortune, but if your undergarments fit poorly you look so sloppy. I really don't know how to dress myself. I still grab my old dress size and head into the dressing room. Of course it's too big. I don't know where to go from there. It's been a challenge figuring out what styles are flattering now, and what kinds of materials and cuts look best. And a whole new set of insecurities have crept up. I used to feel insecure because I was fat. Now, everything sags. I don't think I'll ever feel good without clothes. On the positive side, I don't hurt. My knees and back don't hurt from regular everyday activities. My blood pressure is normal without medication. My asthma symptoms have been greatly reduced, and I've had breathing problems literally since birth. My diet changes have already resulted in better skin. Edit. Also, everyone wants to know how I've done it, but when you tell people about diet changes, they get really annoyed that there isn't some big secret silver bullet. It's a frustrating conversation to have over and over. How people actually noticed me after the weight loss versus before. When I was in my late teens I had lost quite a bit of weight. I'm not exactly sure how much, but I want to preface this by saying I did not do this in a healthy way, eating disorder. But I won't go into how I lost the weight. Anyway, people just paid attention to me for once in my life. Like I actually had value as a person. It was a really strange feeling, and it's part of the reason I'm bigger now. I honestly think I'm low-key afraid to be smaller again, because I know people do not value me unless I fit a specific image, and that's a horrible truth to learn about yourself. It's also kind of nice to not be noticed, because then you get left alone and aren't the subject of harassment by random strangers. I got a lot of attention when I had lost weight because I had been severely bullied as a young teen. It really affected me to suddenly be accepted. People were actually nice to me, held open doors for me, and genuinely wanted to hear my opinions. This was vastly different from how I had been treated for the majority of my life. There were guys who wouldn't give me the time of day before. Now all of a sudden wanted to go on a date with me. They wanted to hang around me and talk to me. It made me feel really uncomfortable as I wasn't used to any of that attention and I knew it was for the wrong reasons. Once I actually talked to these guys because clear they weren't really concerned with getting to know me other than sleeping with me. Didn't lose a lot of weight, but about 60 pounds took me from chubby/fat to curvy. I worked hard to get it off, but I'm not gonna lie, a lot of it came off after getting my hormones under control, thanks PCOS. Mostly it's been changes in other people's and my perceptions of myself. People treat me a lot nicer in stores. I can walk into stores with my friends where I know I won't fit. I'm really tall. So I'm still kind of stuck at plus size stores, but the salespeople will talk to me as well as my friends instead of just my friends. I was never treated rudely, but people would go out of their way to avoid interacting with me. Now they at least say hi and ask if I'm looking for anything. I also get a lot less shoulder pain in crowded spaces. I was talking to my doctor about it, and she thinks it's not actually because of the weight on my joints, but because people would walk into me a lot, and I felt self-conscious about taking up too much space. I'd hunch my shoulders up by my chin and enclose, especially in buses, theaters, and planes. People are a lot less surprised that I'm pretty athletic. I'm big, pardon the pun, into dance, hot yoga and running, and always have been. Before people wouldn't be surprised that I had asthma, but they would be surprised I've done a marathon. Now people are surprised I've got asthma, but not that I've done a marathon. Also clothes are way cheaper, like $60 for a pair of jeans versus. I went from over 260 to 225-ish. Plateaued here for a while, sometimes as much as 230 and sometimes as low as 220. I stayed there for over a year. At first I would look at myself and see such a huge difference and how much better I looked and felt. But gradually the rose-colored glasses started to disappear. The longer I stayed at this weight the fatter I began to look at myself as being. I knew I needed to lose more weight, a lot more, but I was so proud of myself for losing over 30 pounds that I stopped trying. Now I'm working on this again. I've lost 5 pounds in the week since I started and just shifted under 220 again. I'm tired of being fat. All I see is fat. I know I have a food addiction. I know I'm prone to binging. I spend entire days thinking of almost nothing other than food, and when I can have it again, I eat when I'm bored, eat when I'm sad, eat when I'm happy. It's never ending. I'm accepting that counting calories and watching my intake is something that I will always need to do, even if I get down to my goal of 140. I will never be able to stop monitoring myself. Here's to hoping this time is the last time I have to lose weight, and here's to hoping I actually manage to get down to where I need to be. The thing I wasn't expecting is that I didn't expect to stop feeling so hungry after a few days of restriction. I wake up in the morning and I'm not immediately off to stuff my face. Sometimes I don't feel hungry for several hours, and it's just such a freeing thing to not feel tied down by food. Went from 150, 95, 190, 135 pounds, so I've kind of experienced it all. Surprising at my highest weight. In the moment, it didn't seem like I felt the weight. Sure, I didn't run very fast, but I never had before either. And anyone would be slightly winded after 4 flights of stairs, right? So I was happy until I wasn't. Surprising at my lowest weight, I felt like shit. Even if people thought I looked good, I absolutely didn't feel like it. My heart felt like it was going to give in at any point. Constantly cold, like wearing gloves indoors, long sleeves and pants in the summer. Exercise always made me feel like I was dying. And yet people thought I looked good and healthy, so I had to be right. My current weight, best of both worlds. I'm always a little cold, but that's just me. I can eat whatever I want in moderation without really worrying. Can feel some of my bones, which is weird but cool, but I'm not a walking skeleton. Belly fat, a little, is kind of essential, and can be comfy. Weird gap at the back of the waist of all pants. Can exercise without feeling winded easily, but also not feeling like my heart will give in at any second. My hair is much shinier and healthier. Same for my nails. And I can eat much less, and yet feel much fuller. How damn easy it was, honestly. I know it's not easy for everyone, but once I changed my eating habits and noticed not only the weight going away, but how easy it was to sit up, that my stomach didn't always feel awful, that my indigestion went away, that the random aches and pains in my body went away as I got in shape, and that my sleep quality got better, it was a big motivational push to keep at it and to keep the weight off. Little over 3 years ago I was 286 pounds, stage 2 obesity on the BMI scale, and struggled to ride a bike 4 miles. Today I'm down around 186, around midpoint of normal, and today I did a 45 miles ride because it was nice out. Every so often I overeat bad food and drink a lot of beer and feel terrible the next day, and I'm reminded that I used to feel like that every day of my life, and I'm just super happy to not be that person anymore. Also surprised at how freaking expensive it was in clothes. Every 30 or so pounds I needed an entirely new wardrobe, and needing special tall sizes made second-hand stores a no-go. I've kept it pretty basic at only a couple items for shorts/jeans and 10 or so tops. I have always been overweight, but one summer I finally got my shit together and lost 90 lbs. Almost overnight I started receiving attention from men, which was a 100% new to me. Getting asked out by guys I'd only ever daydreamed about on FB. Some I'd never even spoken to who decided to message me and talking to me as though we'd always been old pals. It was bizarre. People are nicer, women even, strangers out in public, were more likely to speak to me. On those dates I started to realize how much more agreeable dudes are when they want to sleep with you. Getting whistled at while I was out running was new too, and faking scary sometimes. I never felt uncomfortable before, because most people will ignore a fatty. Getting complete strangers coming up to you in public was horrifying to me. Luckily I met a really great man who I have 2 kids with. I put on some baby weight, and honestly, I'm kind of glad I'm back to being invisible. There's nothing quite like being an attractive female out and about and minding your own business. I might as well have been wearing a sign that said "bother me." Women checking me out again. I had gradually had it less and less over time, but not realized that it had gone until suddenly women are asking for my details and chasing me for a coffee, etc. Old age, I had a ton of things that my doc had put down to old age, but were cause I was fat, tired, sleeping poorly, groggy by 3 p.m, couldn't be asked with extra work, struggling to get to 5:30 p.m vs powering through if needing to do overtime, feeling grumpy cause I was tired and CBF, Fat people sweat way more. 3. Chafing. Skinnier legs don't chafe so bad. But I do still get it, but not as bad. 4. Clothing fitting, not meaning wrong size cause I bought it when I was smaller. I mean the shape of a stomach is not accounted for in standard shape clothing. My chest button usually pulled open. The stomach pulls forward. The front cloth doesn't tuck in as easily or sit as well. Can't tie ties neck to fat for shirt size. I wasn't massive but it still impacted. 5. More energy and memory. 6. Happier. If all these other things doing well, you feel happier. 7. Knees hurt when exercising. 8. Remove myself from some social outing options like a lake walk as not fit enough. 9. For me, I lost weight through discipline and doing what was hard and unpleasant for hours at a time. The flip of this is that when I was bigger I got bigger by cutting corners and being lazy and not taking pride in myself. People don't see me as fat anymore. They don't tiptoe around weight related conversation around me. I've been called slim and get laughs when I talk about how I think I'm fat. I'm still a fat guy in my mind, but I know this is a mindset I need to shed. I'm cold all the faking time. As I type this my hands are going numb because they are so cold. My apartment is currently sitting at 68°F and I'm wearing a parka to be comfortable. I have a husky that I like to keep the house cool for. Clothes are weird. I'm usually a medium or small, but small and mediums differ largely from brand to brand. It's like we need a size in between. I was on the warrior diet to lose weight and just stuck with it. People freak out when I tell them I usually just eat once a day, maybe with a small snack in the day. How much exercise doesn't hurt? Everything hurts and you feel like you're about to die when you exercise obese. It gets really easy once you get in shape when you're at a good weight. Bright and colorful clothes are amazing. You tend to wear dark clothes when obese. On another note, you love dressing up more because you look sharp as fuck and not some sweaty overweight greasy guy in a collared shirt. People tend to think I'm smarter. I think this one is hard to measure though, since I lost the weight before I entered my professional career, but I feel like people give me more credit than I'm actually due. How easy it was. Seriously. I know a lot of you don't want to hear it, but being a fat piece of shit is so much harder and time consuming than being healthy. It cost me more to lounge around being lazy, ordering food and doing nothing, than to just always be active, learn to cook, shop properly, drink tons of water and eat clean. Literally making a lifestyle, fat diets, and just being a healthy human being, and staying away from drugs, alcohol, fast food, sugars and whatnot, was so much easier than being lazy and fat. I've written about 100 parts of a book I truly want to get published that's basically called If You're Fat It's Your Fault, and I 100% feel that way. Unless you have a medical condition making it so you can't work out or do anything. Fuck you. Stop blaming companies and corporations and the media. I was 250 and dropped to 175, now 185, all by just studying/reading ingredients, learning cooking, drinking only water and tea, working out for free, without a gym, and not having to post about it or seek attention. Just doing it. I'm not trying to sound like an ass, and I see that way. Oh well. Coddling did nothing but make me fatter. Bullying, mocking, and being hard on myself made me get in shape and be healthy. Also, when people see you trying to work out and eat clean and you're very heavy, you will get so much support and respect, it's unbelievable. 2 things. First, how easy it was to gain it back. And I'm not talking about slipping up and pigging out. Second, some of the health effects losing weight had. I'll address the first point first, and I assume a lot of people won't believe this. Such is life. When you're fat, there's a huge stigma that it's just your fault. And to be fair, I did gain all my weight slowly over the course of about 10 years of bad eating. At my peak I was 245 pounds, which isn't the highest weight ever, but I was very unhappy with myself. My journey was 18 months of significant dietary changes, keto diet, and discipline. This was the hardest 18 months of my life. Significant calorie deficit, low carb, the whole works. I lost over 65 pounds and moved from obese to the low end of overweight. My doctor even said this is a good healthy weight. I felt good. I looked good. It was amazing. Then one day, I started taking a long-term dose of antibiotics. 10 months was the total, though the doctor said it could be as little as 9 and as many as 18 months. The reason? Toenail fungus. The fungus gets into the toenails, and if any is left in there, it can all come back, so antibiotics are a long-term thing. The day after I started taking them, I noticed my weight was up a pound or so. How weird. No biggie, right? Well, 2 months later I had regained 60 pounds. 2 months. With a low-calorie, low-carb diet, that didn't change even a little in that time. It was like someone flipped a switch in my body. I've had 2 doctors theorize that it could have been a weird interaction between the state of ketosis and this specific antibiotic on a long-term basis. They said this is usually a one and done drug, not a 10-month drug, so any weight gain in this specific keto case would normally not be noticed, as a slight fluctuation in weight is normal anyway. 60 plus pounds in 2 months. FML, right? The problem is, I haven't really recovered. After 2 months, I said fuck it and started eating crap again. My angry brain thought, if I'm gaining weight anyway I may as enjoy it, and amazingly I stopped gaining weight. That was over a year ago. Since then I've started exercising regularly. I tried calories in / calories out, eating as low as 1300 calories a day before my doctor said stop, that it's unhealthy. I hired a nutritionist who looked at my day-to-day eating and said that looks okay actually, and then gave me a bunch of recommendations, though no follow-up. She became ill and I never heard from her again, so there's that. Problem now is my doctor just says add 30 more minutes of exercise a week and you'll be fine. Nope. Didn't work. He doesn't know why, but also does not seem to care why. In his mind, I guess, fat person equals just exercise a little more. I've even had blood panels run to see if I have any metabolic issues. Nope. Well, mostly slightly high cholesterol and triglycerides, but nothing he would prescribe any meds for, so it must be low, lol. But I was deficient in vitamin D, a lot. So I've been on megadose pills for vitamin D deficiency. Not sure why that came up, especially since I had just been in Florida for a couple weeks and had done traveling with lots and lots of outside time, probably 5 to 6 hours a day. So I've been taking pills for that, to see if it helps my weight. So after sicko diet, exercising a ton over the summer, running 2 to 3 times a week, weight training 3 times a week, regular walks with the dog, and being generally more active, and going out instead of just sitting around at home, I gained 0 pounds and lost 0 pounds. I'm exactly the same weight as when I quit keto and the crazy weight gain stopped. Note, I've shared this story on Reddit before with a lot of skepticism from people. I get it. I wouldn't necessarily believe it fully myself. It makes me angry every single goddamn day that there's something wrong with my body that no one seems interested in figuring out. Most people tell me I must have been counting my calories wrong because sicko will always work. Interestingly, both my doctor and nutritionist said that's bullshit to that claim because there's so many other factors at work. Also note, ironically, my partner does have a metabolic issue, a hyperthyroidism. I was convinced this was the problem when I did my blood panel. She also went to her doctor complaining about difficulty losing weight, and her doctor also said just exercise a bit more and eat less. After 2 or 3 visits with that, she finally snapped and told her doctor just test me, and voila, thyroid issues. Doctors do not want to believe that fat people are fat for any other reason than laziness and gluttony, which, again, I ate myself into this situation in the first place and have no one to blame for getting fat in the first place. But I did the time, I did the effort, and in the end my own body betrayed me, and I just cannot get over this fact. Anyway, the second issue is health problems from being fat. I discovered before I went on keto that I had GERD. Long story short, I had an emergency endoscopy because I had cubed a piece of popcorn chicken down my throat and it got lodged in there. After the endoscopy, the doctor said, oh, by the way, you should know you have classic signs of GERD. GERD is like really bad acid reflux, chronic. There's more to it, but that's the gist. I will wake up at night coughing uncontrollably with a burning in my throat and a taste almost like vomit because stuff comes up your throat when you lie down. I'm on meds for it now. What I discovered, though, was that losing weight completely relieved the symptoms. For a glorious several months I was GERD attack free, no meds. It came back with the weight. I didn't make a huge weight loss like many here. In the course of 2 months I went from 329 to 303. I'm 6 feet 1, and the fact that I need to use long belt to fit into my pants is the sole motivation for me to keep on going. I wasn't always obese. I was a high school varsity basketball player. I was fit. My most fit weight was my senior year of high school at 210 lb 6 feet 1 in height. I actually was very confident. The moment that all changed was right after graduation. I still did my daily exercise and training, but one Sunday morning, I don't know why I was so lazy, but I just told myself that taking one day off isn't going to hurt, and that was the day. I stopped exercises completely, since I kept leading myself on. Ever since that day, my weight has steadily increasing. My self-esteem and confidence is gone. My girlfriend of 3 years is gone. I found that for 2019, I needed to make a change. I needed to go back to my old weight, to feel good about myself and my body, to regain confidence, and so far that's been working out really great. I physically feel awesome. I love my body. I need to keep losing weight. A big part of that was cutting out soda. I mean, I occasionally do drink a diet soda here and there, but soda was a huge cut for me. To replace that I went with Perrier naturally carbonated mineral water. Another big part is stop eating till you feel like your stomach is about to burst. Just eat your portions and call it a day. Exercise is also big. People always say cardio, but mix in some muscle training. The one thing that surprised me the most is my friends. They all look at me every day asking me if I lost more weight. You'd be surprised how much confidence that puts in you. I was very big, lost about 140 pounds, and while it was great to look good and have attention, everything hurt. Injuries stacked from working out, and a lifetime of sports and military piled onto trying to keep this physique going. Counting calories, macros, starches, gluten, reading labels, saying no to friends that wanted to go out. Frankly, I fucking hated how staying fit took over my life and was the only driving thought. 4 years I kept it up, weighing and running and skipping meals and social events. And one day I just fucking snapped. I've gained all the weight back and then some. I have started to take steps to try to find a medium balance in my life, mostly for health reasons. I know where I'm at now is not healthy. I understand life can be better for me, and I can be around for my family longer if I take this seriously. But fuck me, some people were not meant to be fit. I've had nutritionists, meal preps, all kinds of shit, and I fucking hate it. But here goes nothing. I lift 3 times a week, have done so for the last 6 years, just amp on carbs and never do cardio, and fast food. Check on me in a year. 345 today. I hope to be around 275 and stable February 1st of 2020. Sorry about the length of this post, but I've got a lot of weight on the subject. Body dysmorphic disorder is a real thing. When I was fatter I knew I had to lose weight. Now that I have dropped 40 pounds and had started a real lifting regimen, I look and feel better than ever. The problem is, when I look in the mirror I can still see layers of fat that need to be shredded, or flaws in muscular growth. Of course that leads to eating less and less. This happened a few weeks ago badly. I'm a 175 pounds male, 68 inch tall. I was eating 1000 calories a day and not losing any weight. The way to fix this is to just eat. Get your metabolism to start working about. I did a full week of eating 2000 to 2500 calories a day and felt so much better. Former fat boy syndrome is also real. This is best explained by this image pinned.com/original/cb/. When I saw this for the first time, all I thought about was how spot on accurate this poster is. I even set it as a background on my phone to remind myself that I can enjoy life and not have to worry as much as I do. My biggest fear is regaining the weight. I have always struggled with weight. At 15 I saw a doctor for a standard physical, and he asked me if I was okay with my body being covered in stretch marks. That was an eye-opener. I was 235 pounds and felt miserable. I started to cut down my calorie intake, and by senior year I had dropped to 175. College led to slowly gaining again, back to 220, then back down to 185. After my wedding I was 230 again, and my wife urged me start losing weight. That brings us to today. I can squat 350 pounds, deadlift 430 pounds, and love going to the gym and challenging myself. I don't know how to maintain weight. I always gain, and I'm hoping that when I hit my weight goal of 170 pounds I'll be able to maintain or gain just muscle. I'm very conscious of it now, so I hope I can keep fat off. I lost a lot of weight since August of last year, 2018, and it has felt very different. For the most part my confidence has definitely increased. I no longer feel as stared at or as isolated as before. However, there is one thing that has put a real damper on my happiness. My chest size went dramatically down and is very noticeably smaller. I went from an C cup to an A cup, and I have to admit I do miss the attention my bust had gotten me before. My cravings never went away. The urge to overeat is overwhelming at times, but I have to fight them in order to remain slim. It is much colder for me. I have to wear jackets inside of restaurants, classrooms, places that didn't bother me as much previous to my weight loss, and oftentimes I feel very naked without my blanket of fat covering me. Sometimes I look in the mirror and am shocked that I look so different from my past self, and very relieved. I still have the mentality of a heavy girl and still have trouble believing that someone wants to be my friend or is remotely interested in me, so I'm still very shy and doubtful around others. Clothes shopping has become regular for me. I'm still trying to replace my closet with clothes that will fit and do not hang loosely on my figure. I find it kind of nice to be able to wear much cuter clothes and tight pants that did not do any favors for me before my transformation. People know me as the girl who lost weight now, and to be completely honest it feels like there is a spotlight put on me, and I feel very pressured to keep slim and eat healthy, which I'm not comfortable with because I like doing so on my own terms. Sometimes I feel guilty. I have made some of my overweight friends unhappy with their bodies because I have lost so much weight and they have trouble losing any. I still try and be supportive of them, but I can tell they are disconsolate and a little jealous at times. Overall I'm more comfortable. My stomach doesn't put a weight on me when I lay down. My thighs barely rub together anymore. I can wear cuter clothes that actually complement my figure. I can do more fun activities that require exercise without feeling weighed down or stared at. I can go on longer walks or on a simple trip up the stairs without being winded. My stomach does not sit on top of my thighs making me hot and sweaty around the middle. I don't feel like my whole body is jiggling when I move around, and I feel less judged and more accepted overall. Sorry for the long post. I couldn't write all my thoughts in a short paragraph, but thanks for reading. Started at 331 pounds in July 2017. Currently at 170 pounds with a goal of 20 to 30 more lbs until I completely stop. The first 12 to 15 months, I would have had a whole slew of answers to this question. Being cold, how big restaurant booths are, the number of calories in cupcakes or salads, how big bathroom stalls are, how great American Eagle clothes are. But honestly, lately I'm struggling, and above all else, the piece of knowledge that has knocked me on my ass in surprise the most is realizing that weight loss didn't make me a new person. Even after a year and losing 150 pounds plus, I still want to eat when I'm sad. And even though I look great in clothes and I turn the right way and can make people believe I'm a normal person, sometimes I feel so alone because when I take off my clothes my body looks like a cross between an empty potato sack and a flying squirrel. I guess after seeing so much success the first 12 to 15 months I felt sure that I had become a new person, that I was some fit Instagrammer that ate raw vegetables, worked out, and spouted inspirational bullshit at every turn of the head. But the reality is that every single time I see a cake, I want to eat the whole thing. I don't want to portion out my chips. I want to eat the whole faking bag. I don't want to work out or run. I want to sit on my ass and play World of Warcraft and not care about my hygiene for days at a time. Realizing that I'm always going to be in a battle with that person, with myself. That faking sucks. I've been accidentally maintaining 170 pounds for a few months now because I honestly don't know how to deal with it. How I lost it, and how both r/fat logic types and fat acceptance folks are both wrong. I've yo-yoed in weight more and read more about nutrition than anybody I know. I'm 6 feet 5, so I never looked all that morbidly obese, but I've been 215, 275, 240, 325, and back down again. I used to be all about exercise, but I couldn't help but notice every time I stopped is when I lost the weight. I also found I could lose weight relatively easy that way, just by eating smarter, or so I thought. I did what I was supposed to, and when I stopped is when I started losing fat, but I didn't know why. It annoys me to see young health and wellness experts with such followings. People go to them largely for weight loss, but how would they know? Weight loss was like winning a war, and who would you trust? The good looking kid from officer school or the grizzled vet with battle scars that's still here? That's why lean fat logic's shooting. Eat less, exercise more, and fat acceptors are the same. They both belly a culture that's not getting it right. It's like fat logicists think the past decades of skyrocketing obesity are responsible because they just weren't getting the message across, and fat acceptor have given up. No, we got the message. In was a teen in the fat-free 90s. And it's wrong. I eat less and exercise more. But it's eat less, refined carbohydrate, and exercise less, but harder and faster where you do. That's what lost me my weight, and it's not the same. I was and remain, like many humans, a sugar addict. Once I realized that, and that there is an entire hormonal biological side to weight gain, it became clear. Perhaps even that physics, psycho, tells us nothing about why we gain weight and how we store not calories, but macronutrients. Fat is my methadone, and I lost the weight. The only thing I wish is that I'd known sooner, as it isn't as easy to lose or maintain anymore. If I'd only known then how insidious sugar is, I'd have never been fat in the first place. Edit. Fuck all y'all.